Many people misunderstand what Allah's love truly looks like. They search for it in comfort, ease, and constant happiness. They assume that if Allah loves a servant, life should feel smooth, stable, and painless. But this assumption has never been true. Allah's love is not proven by comfort alone. In fact, some of the people most beloved to Allah lived the hardest lives. Because divine love is not about making life easy, it is about preparing the heart. When Allah loves a servant, He does not leave them as they are. He begins to shape them, and shaping is rarely comfortable. Allah's love often arrives disguised as disruption. Plans fail, doors close, certainty disappears, and the servant is forced to pause and look inward. At first, this feels like loss, but in reality, it is redirection. Allah loves a servant, so He refuses to let their heart become attached to what will harm them. He loosens unhealthy bonds. He removes distractions. He creates distance from things that quietly damage the soul. This process can feel lonely. People drift away, support weakens. The servant may wonder, why am I left alone? But this loneliness is not abandonment, it is invitation. Allah draws the servant closer to Himself by removing what once stood in between. One of the clearest signs of Allah's love is what happens after a mistake. A loved servant does not feel comfortable with sin. The heart tightens, there is discomfort, there is regret. This regret is not punishment, it is protection. Allah does not allow the heart He loves to settle into disobedience. He keeps it awake. When Allah loves a servant, He increases their awareness. Things that once felt normal begin to feel heavy. Certain environments become uncomfortable. Certain conversations feel empty. This sensitivity is not weakness, it is refinement. Allah also slows down the servant He loves. Life no longer rushes forward unchecked. Waiting becomes unavoidable. Patience is forced into the heart. At first, this waiting feels unbearable. But waiting teaches reliance, and reliance builds faith. When Allah loves a servant, He changes the way they pray. Prayer becomes less about asking and more about speaking. The servant begins to pour their heart out, not only their desires but their fears, confusion, and pain. This kind of prayer is a gift, because not everyone who prays is truly connected. Allah's love also appears as inner struggle, a restlessness that does not allow the heart to settle into emptiness, a quiet dissatisfaction with shallow living, a need for meaning. This struggle is a sign that the heart is alive. Allah does not give this restlessness to everyone. He gives it to those He intends to elevate. Another sign of Allah's love is correction, not public humiliation, but private awareness, a sentence heard at the right moment, an ayah that suddenly feels personal, an experience that exposes a flaw gently but clearly. Allah corrects those He loves because He wants them safe. And sometimes, Allah's love is felt as exhaustion. The servant grows tired of pretending, tired of empty cycles, tired of chasing what never satisfies. This exhaustion is not weakness, it is readiness for change. Many people ask, why does Allah test those who are trying? The answer is simple but heavy. Because Allah does not want effort without growth. Effort without awareness leads nowhere, so Allah intervenes. If your life has become a series of lessons rather than rewards, if comfort no longer satisfies you, if your heart keeps pulling you back to reflection, do not rush to assume rejection. Sometimes, this is exactly what Allah's love looks like. When Allah loves a servant, He begins a quiet process of purification. This process is rarely visible to others, but deeply felt by the one experiencing it. Life may continue on the surface, yet inside, something is shifting. One of the first signs is a change in priorities. Things that once felt urgent lose their intensity. Things that once felt optional begin to feel necessary. The heart slowly rearranges what matters and what does not. Allah's love makes the servant uncomfortable with superficial living. Entertainment no longer fills the emptiness. Distraction loses its power. The soul begins to crave substance. This discomfort is not depression, it is discernment. Allah does not allow the heart He loves to be satisfied with what cannot nourish it. Another sign of Allah's love is the increase of inner accountability. The servant becomes more aware of intentions. Actions are questioned. Motives are examined. This inner questioning is not self-destruction, it is self-honesty. Allah loves truth, and He invites the servant He loves to live truthfully, even with themselves. When Allah loves a servant, He also changes how they experience hardship. Pain no longer feels random. Struggle begins to carry meaning. The servant may still ask, why? But the question slowly evolves into, what is this teaching me? This shift marks maturity. Allah's love transforms suffering into instruction. Another powerful sign is the servant's relationship with patience. Patience becomes unavoidable. Waiting stretches longer than expected. Results are delayed. At first, this feels like deprivation, but patience builds depth. Allah does not give instant answers to hearts He wants to strengthen. When Allah loves a servant, He gives them a taste of loneliness, not to isolate them, but to detach them. Crowds thin. Certain relationships fade. the servant may feel misunderstood. But in this space, Allah creates intimacy, because the heart that is never alone rarely listens. Loneliness, when guided by Allah, becomes a place of clarity rather than despair. Allah's love also appears in how mistakes are handled. A loved servant is not destroyed by failure. Instead, failure becomes a mirror. The servant sees themselves more clearly. Pride softens. Arrogance weakens. Allah does not allow repeated failure to become identity. He allows it to become humility. Another sign of divine love is an increasing discomfort with hypocrisy. The servant grows tired of contradictions, tired of appearing righteous without feeling sincere, tired of words without action. This discomfort is painful, but it is purifying. Allah loves sincerity more than perfection. When Allah loves a servant, He places reminders directly in their path. An ayah appears at the right time. A conversation strikes the heart. A situation mirrors an inner struggle. These are not coincidences. They are divine interruptions. Allah interrupts the path of those He loves before they wander too far. Allah's love also brings a deeper understanding of the world's temporary nature. The servant no longer clings tightly. Loss is still painful, but it is no longer devastating. The heart begins to trust that what is meant to stay will stay, and what leaves was never owned. This trust brings a quiet strength. Another sign of Allah's love is a refined sense of shame, not toxic shame, but moral awareness. The servant feels uneasy crossing certain boundaries, not because of fear of people, but because of respect for Allah. This awareness protects the heart long before harm occurs. Allah's love also increases gratitude. Small blessings are noticed. Moments of clarity are appreciated. Even struggle is sometimes met with silent thanks. This gratitude is not forced. It grows naturally from awareness. When Allah loves a servant, He trains them to see beyond outcomes. Success and failure lose their absolute power. What matters more is alignment. Am I walking in the right direction? This question becomes more important than, did I win? Allah's love produces steadiness, not excitement, not constant emotion, but stability. A servant loved by Allah may still fall, but they do not stay down. They may lose, but they do not lose themselves. They may struggle, but they do not lose direction. This is because Allah does not love halfway. When He loves, He protects. And sometimes, that protection feels like pressure. There comes a point when a servant must stop measuring Allah's love by comfort and start recognizing it through transformation. Because divine love is not proven by how easy life becomes, but by how deeply the heart is shaped. Allah's love does not leave the servant unchanged. It refines intention. It sharpens awareness. It strengthens direction. If Allah loves a servant, that servant will not be left in heedlessness for long. Even if they drift, something pulls them back. Even if they fall, something awakens them. This pull is not guilt alone, it is guidance. One of the clearest signs of Allah's love is that the heart does not remain comfortable in disobedience. The servant may stumble, but peace does not settle with sin. This discomfort is not cruelty, it is mercy. Allah protects what He loves by refusing to let it sleep. Allah's love also appears in the servant's relationship with hope. No matter how heavy the burden becomes, despair does not fully take root. There is always a quiet voice that says, "This is not the end." That voice does not come from the self, it comes from Allah. When Allah loves a servant, He gives them the courage to look inward. The servant begins to ask honest questions. Where am I heading? What is shaping me? What am I becoming? These questions are signs of life. A dead heart does not ask them. Allah's love is also visible in the way trials are endured. The servant may feel pain, but they do not feel abandoned. Even in moments of confusion, there is a sense that Allah sees, knows, and measures every tear. This awareness does not remove pain, but it makes it bearable. Another sign is humility. As the servant grows, pride shrinks. Achievements do not inflate the ego. Knowledge does not produce arrogance. Instead, responsibility increases. The servant becomes more careful, not more confident in themselves. Allah's love teaches balance. The servant does not abandon the world but no longer worships it. They work but do not cling. They lose but do not collapse. This balance is a rare gift. Allah's love also protects the servant's direction. They may stumble, slow down, or take detours, but they do not lose the path entirely. Something always realigns them. A reminder, a verse, a moment of clarity. And perhaps the most beautiful sign of Allah's love is this: the servant keeps returning. No matter how many times they fall, no matter how long the distance becomes, they return. Because Allah does not close the door on the hearts He loves. If you find yourself repeatedly pulled back to reflection, if comfort no longer satisfies you, if your heart refuses to settle into emptiness, do not assume rejection. Sometimes this restlessness is the evidence of care. Allah's love may disturb your comfort, but it will never destroy your faith. Allah's love may exhaust you, but but it will never abandon you. Allah's love may strip away illusions, but it will always leave you with truth. May Allah make us among those He loves, refines, and protects. May He not leave our hearts unattended. May He correct us gently, awaken us clearly, and draw us closer through every test. And may we learn to recognize His love, even when it arrives disguised as difficulty.